A few years ago, if someone drove past you in a luxury car, you probably assumed they were successful. Today, I'm not so sure. I've met people with impressive salaries who can't sleep without checking their bank account before bed. I've met people who own beautiful homes but spend every Sunday worrying about Monday morning. And I've met people with far less money who somehow seem lighter, calmer, present. It made me wonder whether we've been measuring wealth with the wrong yardstick all along. Because maybe the ultimate luxury isn't buying whatever you want. Maybe it's waking up without feeling financially hunted. And in a world that's constantly competing for our attention, our money, and our peace, that might be the rarest form of wealth left. We've always associated status with things people could see. A bigger house, a nicer watch, an expensive vacation. Status was visible. But something has quietly changed over the last decade. Today, many of the things that once symbolized success are available on credit. Luxury can be financed. Designer clothes can be rented. Social media can make almost anyone appear wealthy for a few carefully edited moments. Appearance has become surprisingly affordable. Peace hasn't. That's the contradiction I keep coming back to. You can borrow money to look rich. You can't borrow peace of mind. In fact, the more I pay attention, the more it seems that modern financial life isn't creating a shortage of money as much as it's creating a shortage of emotional certainty. Think about the conversations people have now. They're not only worried about paying rent. They're worried about whether rent will double in 5 years. They're not only saving for retirement. They're wondering if retirement will even look the same by the time they get there. Technology changes industries overnight. Artificial intelligence reshapes careers faster than people can retrain. Markets swing with every headline. Inflation quietly changes what our salary can actually buy. Even when nothing terrible happens, uncertainty itself becomes exhausting, and uncertainty has a cost. Psychologists have found that uncertainty has a cost. Psychologists have found that uncertainty often creates more stress than predictable bad news. When our brains don't know what's coming, they keep searching for possible threats. It's like having dozens of browser tabs open in your mind. Each one consumes a little energy. Eventually, you aren't tired because you've worked too much. You're tired because you've worried too much. That's why financial peace has become so valuable. Not because it eliminates problems. Because it gives your mind permission to stop scanning for them every few minutes. Here's something that surprised me. When researchers study happiness over long periods, they often find that once people's basic needs are comfortably met, additional income still matters, but usually less than we imagine. What continues to matter is control. Control over your schedule. Control over your choices. Control over how often fear gets to interrupt your life. That's why someone earning less can sometimes feel richer than someone earning twice as much. One person owns their calendar, the other rents theirs to constant anxiety. Money doesn't automatically create freedom. Sometimes it simply purchases a more expensive version of stress. And our culture doesn't always help. We're surrounded by symbols of success that are incredibly easy to photograph. No one posts a picture of sleeping peacefully. No one uploads a quiet evening without checking work emails. No one shares the feeling of opening a banking app without a rush of panic. But those invisible moments might represent a deeper kind of wealth than anything sitting in a garage. We'd become experts at displaying prosperity, not experiencing it. That's where financial psychology becomes fascinating. Behavioral economists talk about something called hedonic adaptation. It's the tendency for exciting purchases to become normal remarkably quickly. The new car becomes your car. The dream apartment becomes your apartment. The promotion becomes your job. Our emotional baseline quietly resets. Then the search begins again. Not because we're greedy, because the brain adapts. Peace of mind works differently. Unlike material status, it doesn't lose value simply because you've become accustomed to it. In many ways it becomes even more valuable over time. The ability to sleep well. The ability to ignore financial headlines for a weekend. The confidence that one unexpected expense won't completely derail your life. Those aren't flashy achievements, they're deeply human ones. I've also noticed that many people who quietly build lasting financial stability don't spend much time trying to appear wealthy. Instead, they seem obsessed with reducing unnecessary stress. They automate savings, not because spreadsheets excite them, but because they want fewer daily decisions. They build emergency funds that often sit untouched for years. From the outside, that cash might seem unproductive. Psychologically, it's doing an important job. It's buying emotional breathing room. It's reducing the background noise of uncertainty. Sometimes the greatest return on money isn't a percentage. It's a better night's sleep. That's difficult to measure, but incredibly easy to feel. There's another reason peace of mind has become such a powerful status symbol. Attention has become expensive. Every day, thousands of businesses compete for your focus. Every notification suggests urgency. Every headline implies you're already behind. Every advertisement quietly tells you that your current life isn't quite enough. The economy no longer competes only for your wallet. It competes for your emotional state, because anxious people consume differently than peaceful people. They react faster, they compare more, they seek relief more often. That's not a criticism. It's simply how human psychology works. When we're emotionally overwhelmed, we naturally look for certainty. Sometimes that certainty comes from buying something. Sometimes it comes from checking our investments 10 times a day. Sometimes it comes from working longer hours than we actually need to because slowing down feels dangerous. But certainty purchased through constant vigilance is incredibly fragile. Real peace usually grows from something quieter. Accepting that not everything can be predicted. Preparing without trying to control everything. Recognizing that enough isn't a fixed number in your bank account. It's a relationship with uncertainty, and that relationship changes everything. Because eventually you stop asking, how can I eliminate every financial risk? You start asking, how can I become the kind of person who can handle uncertainty without losing myself? That's a very different question, and I think it's a much healthier one. It shifts the goal away from perfection and toward resilience. Away from appearance and toward stability. Away from endless accumulation and toward emotional security. That doesn't mean ambition disappears, it simply changes shape. You still save, you still invest, you still work toward meaningful goals. But those actions become expressions of care rather than fear. The destination isn't looking richer than everyone else. It's feeling less controlled by money than you did yesterday. That's a subtle difference, but it changes almost every financial decision that follows. Maybe that's why some of the happiest people I've met don't constantly talk about wealth. They talk about time. They talk about family dinners they don't have to rush through. They talk about taking a day off without guilt. They talk about knowing that one difficult month won't undo years of careful decisions. Those conversations rarely go viral. They're too ordinary, too quiet. But maybe that's exactly the point. We've spent decades treating visible luxury as the highest achievement. Maybe the next chapter looks different. Maybe the real flex isn't proving you can afford more. Maybe it's proving that your life no longer revolves around proving anything at all. Because at the end of the day, money isn't just trying to buy comfort, it's trying to buy a feeling. The feeling that tomorrow doesn't have to be frightening. The feeling that you have enough space to breathe. The feeling that your attention belongs to you again. And if that's true, then perhaps the most valuable thing anyone can own today isn't another symbol of wealth. It's the quiet confidence that their peace of mind isn't for sale.